to imagine you're between the ages of about 7 and 13. Okay? When I Googled it, there's nothing for grown-ups. So good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Today I want to share a story with you that has a beautiful woman, a handsome man, an ugly troll, and a fire-breathing stallion. It's a tale from Norway, and it's called the Master Maid. So, Leif is a tall, handsome young man. He's engaging. He has lots of friends. But the only thing about Leif is he doesn't like to take advice from anybody. His dad keeps telling him, Leif, it's good to have opinions. Leif, it's good to know what you know. But Leif, it's also really good to know what you don't know. So that when someone who does know suggests something, you know how to listen to them. Leif did not like hearing that. Leif said, that's it, Dad. I'm tired of listening to everybody telling me what to do. I'm going to explore the world. I'm 18 now. I don't have to listen to anybody anymore. And I am gone. Leif's dad pleaded with him. He tried to get Leif to stay. But the more he pleaded, the more convinced Leif became he was gone. And so finally his dad just threw up his arms. He said, fine. Leif, if you're going to go, you're going to go. But the one piece of advice I really, really, really want you to take is please, whatever you do, do not go and work for the troll. So of course, as soon as Leif leaves the house, he starts knocking on people's doors trying to figure out where the troll lives because he's going to go and work for the troll. He finds out, he walks over, he knocks on the door opens up, and the troll was a lot bigger, a lot uglier, and a lot meaner looking than he had thought. But Leif was no coward, so he took a deep breath. He said, Troll, I'm here for a job. The troll looks him up and down, pinches his cheek, pinches his arm, pinches a little over here, says, yeah, you know what, young man, I think that I can use you around the place. And so he takes Leif over to the stables, and he says, Leif, it's your first day. There's just one thing I need you to do for me today. He says, I have a stallion over that hill in the pasture. I need you to get the stallion, bring it back to the barn. Leif goes, that's easy, I can do that. The troll says, I'm now taking my herd of goats. We're going to the pasture on the other side. When I get back, make sure the stallion's in the barn. Oh, and by the way, Leif, whatever you do while I'm gone, do not go into the house. Leif promises he won't go into the house. The troll takes his goats, he heads over the hill to the pasture. Guess where Leif goes? To the house. He walks into the house, he explores all of the rooms. The very last room he comes to, there's the beautiful woman in it, the prettiest girl he's ever seen. She turns around, looks at him with an expression of amusement on her face. Looks at him and says, who are you? And what are you doing here? And he says, my name is Leif, and this is my very first day on the job working for the troll. She looks at him again and says, didn't anybody tell you you're not supposed to work for the troll? And Leif says, yes, I got warned lots of times, but I'm so glad I didn't listen, because if I had, I wouldn't have met you, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Well, she loved Leif's answer. And so she invited him in, they sat down, they had some coffee, they talked, they chatted, we're having a great time getting to know each other. All of a sudden, this beautiful girl looks at the clock, says, Leif, what is it that you're supposed to get done today? And Leif says, oh, it's easy. All I have to do is go over the hill, get the stallion, bring it back to the barn. Piece of cake. The beautiful girl looks at Leif and says, Leif, it's not as easy as you think it is. This is a fire-breathing stallion. If you walk up to the stallion, it's going to charge you, trample you while it's breathing fire on you. What you need to do is go to the barn first, grab a bridle. When you get to the pasture, make sure you're holding the bridle in front of you, and then the stallion will be tamed. So Leif thanks the beautiful girl, walks over to the stable, grabs the bridle, walks over the hill to the pasture, which is on this side, and sees the stallion grazing peacefully. He says to himself, you know, she's a really beautiful girl, but I don't think she knows a thing about horses. And so he starts to walk towards the horse. The stallion takes one look at him and starts charging, fire breathing out of his nose. In the nick of time, Leif grabs the bridle, holds it up in front of him. The stallion stops, completely tamed, and he rides the stallion back to the stable. The troll comes home, asks Leaf, hey, did you get the stallion home? And Leaf goes, absolutely, it's in the barn. The troll goes, looks in the barn, comes back out and says, there's no way you figured that out by yourself. Did you go into the house? Did you meet the master maid? Leaf looks at the troll, complete innocence, going, no. You told me not to go into the house. Of course I didn't go into the house. And who is this master maiden person that you're talking about? The troll looks at him and says, he'll find out soon enough. The next 3 days, every day the troll gets up, gives Leaf a job. Before he heads off to pasture, tells Leaf don't go in the house. Leaf promises every single time he's not going to go into the house. He goes into the house. He hangs out with this beautiful girl all day long. He then tells her what the job is. She tells him how to get it done without dying. And everything goes well. On the 5th day, though, it's a little bit different. This time, instead of giving Leaf a new job, the troll grabs Leaf by the arm into the house, all the way to the kitchen, throws him on the floor and says, beautiful, or master maid, I want you to chop him up and throw him in the stew. I'm going to go and have a nap. When it's done, just wake me up. So he goes to lie down. The beautiful maid turns around, takes a butcher knife off the wall. Leaf calls, you wouldn't. The beautiful maid says, of course not. Silly, I wouldn't do that. She takes the butcher knife, she pricks her finger, drops 3 drops of blood onto a stool. She then grabs some garbage, she grabs a couple of dead rats, old shoes, throws them into the boiling water, and then she grabs a wooden fork, a lump of salt, a flask of water, takes Leaf by the hand and said, that's it, this is our chance to escape, we've got to go. So they run hand in hand as fast as they can to the barn, they saddle up 2 horses, and off they go. In the meantime, the troll rolls over, in a sleepy voice says, is the stew done yet? And the first drop of blood answers in the beautiful girl's voice and says, not yet, troll, still tough as leather. And so the troll rolls over, goes back to sleep. A little while later, he wakes up again and asks again, is the stew ready yet? And the second drop of blood in the beautiful maid's voice says, still not ready, troll, go back to sleep. And so he does. Eventually, he rolls over for the 3rd time and asks again, is the stew ready? And the 3rd drop of blood responds, yes, troll, it's ready. You can come up and have your stew. And so the troll gets up and half asleep, stumbles over to the stew pot, takes a ladle, big scoop, spits it out all over the place. It is terrible. He takes a look and realizes it's filled with rats and old leather and goes, that maid, she tricked me, and she's escaped with the boy. And so he runs to the stable, he saddles up the stallion and starts chasing after them. Now the stallion runs a whole lot quicker than the 2 horses. And so he's quickly catching up. Leaf looks over, he sees the troll, he goes, oh, we're doomed. The maiden does nothing. Instead, she takes the wooden fork, she throws it behind her, casts a spell, and all of a sudden the fork turns into a thick forest of trees, blocking the troll's path. But the troll has a plan, and he mutters his own curse, and all of a sudden there's a path that leads all the way through the woods, and he can continue chasing them. Leaf again looks over, pounds, oh, we're doomed. Beautiful maiden takes a lump of salt, throws that behind her, and it turns into a big, huge mountain. Nothing's going to stop the troll, though. He has his own curse, and a mountain eater comes out and tunnels a way through the mountain, and he continues through. Now, this job takes a little bit longer, so Leaf and the beautiful girl get all the way to the lake. They see a boat, they get off their horses, jump in the boat, they start going like crazy to get to the other side. The troll gets to the edge of the water, and he has another curse, though. He's still not giving up. And all of a sudden, the water starts disappearing. There's nothing left in the lake. The boat is sitting right in the middle, and the horse is starting to come across. Leaf is again panicking. The beautiful maiden takes the flask, she drops 1 drop of water in, mutters a spell, and the whole lake is filled up. The troll is buried, and they get to the other side, safe and sound. Leaf decides to take this beautiful woman home to meet his dad. They end up getting married. During the ceremony, the minister comes to the part where he looks at the beautiful woman and says, do you promise to love, honor, and obey? And Leaf stands up, he goes, you know what, forget that obey part. I think it's better if I just obey her for the rest of my life. And so he did.